Hello, Sydney. Or can we just use revenue? Yes, yes, you can use just revenue. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, everything is okay. I hope that everything is okay with you guys as well. Thank you. The only thing is that I miss you guys. I miss school. Yeah, yeah. You can't believe you saying this, but yeah, I understand. You probably don't like school that much, but you didn't want to go through this experience, I assume. You're not alone. You're not alone. We all took it for granted. There are lessons to be learned from this experience. So we have four people that have logged in. So apparently you don't have no questions. I already posted the study guide for you guys. If you just go on Beachboard or Cal Poly students, just go on Blackboard, go to your course under announcement, the new announcement. You see the link. If you click on the link where it says Final Exam Study Guide, you'll see it there. And for Beachboard students under news item, it's there already. Alvin, for homework 4, we find the mean, standard deviation, and proportion, yes, of our population and the sample. Yes, correct. Yes, Alvin. You're quite welcome. Louise, how do I calculate population parameter? Mm, let me explain. These are population parameters, mu, sigma, and population proportion. Mu is the average, so you use the Excel to calculate the average for the entire population. You use Excel to calculate standard deviation for the population. Then for proportion, I've already explained this in another video, but I'm going to do it again. And I think the video that I did explain this in is, I think, Office Hour 1. But anyways, for proportion, let's see what the proportion is. Proportion is a fraction of the population or the sample with the characteristic of interest. Okay? So that's what the proportion is. And I have said in the homework assignment that I've posted on Beachboard, and even in the other video that I explained this, for proportion, you can say, okay, you have 50 companies with 50 revenues or 50 income or 50 losses or profit, whatever. You can say, okay, the number of those companies that their revenue is less than this much. You just come up with something yourself. Let's say that the highest revenue is, let's say that the highest is 100 million and the lowest is, let's say, 20 million. Okay? So for proportion, you say you have total of what? You have total of 50. So X divided by N. So your large N, which is the population, is 50. Let's say that out of 50 companies, you have like 15 of them that their revenue, let's say you decide to take those that their revenue is less than 50 million or more than 50 million. Okay, it's up to you. Let's say that you find 15 of them. 15 divided by 50, that will give you the proportion. And these are called population parameters. What are the point estimators? After you do this, then you use rand between, or you use random number table out of chapter 7, random number table out of chapter 7, or rand between. It's a function in Excel, okay? To select 10 of these companies, 10 out of 50, as your sample. So you found 10 companies. For those 10 companies, so now you have sample of 10. Okay? Then you go ahead and calculate X bar, which is the average. Calculate standard deviation for your sample. And calculate, let me bring this within the frame. And then you will calculate lowercase p bar, which is sorry guys, lowercase p bar, which is the sample proportion. All right. Now, how do you select your sample proportion? The same way that you selected, how do you find your sample proportion? The same way that you found it for the population. You have 10. So your n, small n, and x, your small n, okay? Your small n is 10. You have to use the same criteria that you use for your population. What was the criteria that I used? I said the number of companies that their revenue is more than or less than, whichever, less than 50 million, for example, or less than 40 million, or more than 40 million. Let's say that you, out of your 10 samples, you find, let's say, 4. So 4 divided by 10, that would be your sample proportion. So these are population parameters. Let's see, these are population parameters. Now let's go up a little bit. Those are population parameters. And these are point estimators. And these are point estimators. Any question, Luis? X bar is the average for the sample. Lowercase s is the standard deviation for the sample. And lowercase p bar is sample proportion. Is it clear now? This is average or mean. This is standard deviation. And this is sample proportion. This is sample proportion. The same thing for these. This is the average, this is standard deviation, and this is population proportion. Okay, good. So you got it. Sorry, guys, my equipment, they are not very advanced or professional. Very, very basic. See if I could move this back a little bit. Okay. Sydney, I don't really understand how to use the chapter 7 table for random variable. Uh, let's see if I can take you through the rand between. This is going to be a lot easier. Okay. You open Excel and click on the function button. Click on function button. I assume that you know what it is. For random. So you click on function button, and then you go down the list. They are all alphabetically in order, all the functions. There's a function called the rand between. It's all one word, no space in between. Rand between. Click on that. And then a dialog box opens. In a dialog box, they ask you for the bottom and top. Bottom means what is the lowest number that you are working with. Like you have 50, you can say 1 is the first one. And then for top, you type in, you have to type in. For bottom, you type in 1. For top, you type in 50. All right. Then you click OK. When you click OK, that dialog box goes away. All right. Now, you put your mouse pointer on whatever cell that is been selected already, the default cell. Okay. Move your mouse pointer and place your mouse pointer at the bottom right hand side corner of the cell, where the mouse pointer appears as a black color plus sign. This feature is called autofill feature. Okay. If you already know how to use it, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, so you move your mouse pointer, you place it at the bottom corner of that cell. You click and hold down your mouse button. Drag it down to cover 10 rows because you need a sample of 10, right? When you click your mouse button and hold it, you drag it down 10 rows, then you let go the mouse button. You are going to see 10 numbers, that these 10 numbers are between 1 and 50. Okay? Those 10 numbers, then you have, I assume you have the list of your companies on Excel spreadsheet from 1 to 50, right? Then go to that list. Those 10 numbers, pick those. They are going to be your samples. Was that clear? I'm glad that it was. But before you do all of that, you have to highlight something specific. You don't have to highlight nothing. You don't have to go. Okay, you will start Excel as a clean workbook. Nothing. You don't do this on the same spreadsheet that you have your file, your 50 companies on already. You start a clean and new Excel file, and then you go ahead and click on function button. You select run between. You will get the dialog box. In the dialog box, you put in 50 for top, 1 for bottom, then click OK. Then put your mouse pointer on the default cell at the bottom corner where you see that black color plus sign. Click and hold down the mouse button, drag it down 10 rows. The numbers appear. 10 numbers will appear. Those 10 numbers are in between 1 and 50. They are going to be your samples. You can go ahead and do it right now, and if you have any problem, just let me know. I don't know if there is a feature. Okay. JR. So where the run between information is. Run between is not information. Run between is a function. Have you ever used Excel function? Any Excel function um, in the past? If you have, then it's under the same button. When you, let me see if I can do it like this. When you first, this is for JR, okay, and those numbers correspond to the, yes, the answer to your question, Sydney, is yes. Now, this is for JR, spread Excel file, and where are the 50 companies? Well, the 50 companies, this is how you select your samples of 10 JR, okay? Let's say that you found your 50 companies on your Excel file, all right? You're not gonna use that file. You just go ahead and start a new Excel. On the new Excel, you're gonna have this toolbar. Right in here is title bar, probably it says book one. And in here you have file, you have home, and then there is a part in here where is the name box. Let's say that if this is Excel spreadsheet, we have A, B, C, D, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Okay. Now in here, you will see FX. That FX is where you click. Once you click on this FX, then the window opens up that shows the functions of Excel. On the functions of Excel, you have a part where it says most recently used functions. click on that, on this down arrow, and then select all. They drop down the list, select all. When you select all, then you go down the list, they are alphabetically in order, and select rand between. When you select rand between, then the dialog box opens up. I don't remember exactly how it looks, but it says top and bottom. So for top, you have 50 companies, right? You type in 50. And then for bottom, you type in 1. And then you click OK. Once you click OK, you come back to this screen. All right? Let's say that your mouse pointer is already on this cell. This is the default cell, okay? Move your mouse pointer, place your mouse pointer right here at this corner until you will see this. You'll see this black color plus sign. Once you see this, click on your mouse pointer button and hold it down. Drag this down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, count 10 rows. Then let go the mouse button. Then you are going to see, for example, are going to see 25, 10, 3, 34. So you're going to see 10 random number between 1 and 50. Go to your list, your original file that you have, your Excel file that you have all your 50 companies in there. Then take those companies in row number 10, 3, 34, 25, and calculate those measures. Yeah, the answer to your question, those numbers correspond to those companies, yes. And then Sydney, okay, thank you. You're welcome. You'll be getting random numbers from, yes. When you put your mouse pointer right here, click and hold down, and you drag it down, that function rand between will select 10 numbers randomly between 1 and 50. Is this clear now, JR, for you? Please let me know. I'm glad that it is. You're quite welcome. My 30 minutes is over, but if you guys have, I see that 4 people are in. If you guys have any question, I do not stop. I'll just go on. Second call. Any question before we say goodbye? I don't care if it takes, if you guys have a question, if it takes another 30 or 40 or 50 or 1 hour, I have no problem with that. I'm here for you guys. JR, I have gone over population parameter. It's on this video. So the good thing about this video is that it's being recorded. Just go ahead and play back and go over it as many times as you want. I did use the example of what the population parameter is, what the point estimator is, and how to calculate those, what population proportion is, what sample proportion is, and how to calculate all those. And this video is going to be on my, if you subscribe, then you have access to this video. But you know what? Let me just, it's not going to take that long. Let me just go ahead and do that one more time. Are you there? JR, are you there? This is formula for proportion for the population equal to X divided by N. N is your population. In this example, the population is 50. Now, let's see what the proportion is. Population proportion is a fraction of the population with the characteristic of interest. Okay? Now, what is the characteristic of interest? As I have mentioned in the homework, you can come up with your own criteria as a characteristic of interest. For example, you can say the number of those companies, this is the example that I used a little while ago, the number of those companies that their profit or their revenue is less than this much. Let's say that the total revenue, I mean the highest revenue for those companies is 100 and the lowest one is 20 million. Okay? So you can say you want to use this criteria for your population proportion. Number of those companies that their revenue is, let's say, more than 50 million. Okay? You go and count how many do you have out of 50 that their revenue is more than 50 million. Let's say you find 20 of them. 20 divided by 50, that will give you the proportion for the population. Now you want to do the same thing for the sample. This is for population. For sample, you go ahead and do lowercase p bar X divided by small n. So your small n is going to, I have asked you to use sample of 10. So n is your sample, which is 10. And then you use the same criteria that you use for your population. You go through these 10 companies, you count how many of them they have their revenue more than 50 million. Let's say that you find, for example, 3 of them. 3 divided by 10, that is the sample proportion. Is that clear? So you have this twice, at the beginning of this video and now almost at the end. But again, I see 3 of you guys that are still on. If you guys have any question, please ask. If you miss me now, or those who see this at later time, I think tomorrow I have this office hour at 10:30. All right, everybody's, oh, you're welcome, JR. Everybody's okay? No question? Last call. Oh, my pleasure, Sydney. All right, guys. Goodbye. Again, one more time. Are you guys there? If you have any question, please Bring it up. Okay, goodbye for now.